Hey guys, welcome back to another Friday Fireside Chat. Today we're going to be listening to a short video by Dr. Tracey Marks, who's a psychiatrist who makes mental health videos on YouTube. And in this video, in this talk, she's talking about the importance of structure and the many ways that building structure into our lives can help us become more efficient, effective, reduce stress, and have so many other benefits for our life. So without further ado, here is Tracey Marks.
Have you ever noticed how much calmer you feel when your day has a clear structure? Or how quickly things can spiral into chaos when that structure breaks down? There's a reason for this. Your brain actually craves structure, and today I'll show you why. I'm Dr. Tracey Marks, a psychiatrist, and I make mental health education videos to help you strengthen your mind, fortify your brain, and build resilience. As we continue this module on stress management and emotional regulation that's part of the bigger series of resilience, we're going to look at why structure is essential for emotional stability and how you can use it to your advantage. Let's start by understanding why your brain thrives on predictability. Our brains are constantly scanning the environment for patterns so that we can anticipate what's coming next. And this isn't just a preference, it's a survival mechanism. The more predictable something is, the less mental energy your brain has to spend on figuring it out. Research shows that structured environments help regulate your stress response system. When your brain knows what to expect, it doesn't need to stay on high alert. This frees up energy for things that really need your attention. This is why having structure in your day means more than just being organized. It gives your brain the stability it needs to function at its best. Without structure, your brain has to work overtime, processing an endless stream of small decisions, and that's where things start to break down. Every day, you make thousands of decisions: what to wear, when to check your phone, how to respond to an email. Each of these choices requires mental energy, and over time, that energy gets depleted. This is called decision fatigue. Think of your brain as a battery. Each decision drains a little bit of power, and by the end of the day, filled with constant decision making, that battery is running on empty. And when you're mentally drained, your ability to regulate emotions takes a hit. That's when you're more likely to snap at someone, put off important tasks, or get stuck in the loop of feeling overwhelmed. It's also why successful people simplify their choices whenever they can. You've probably heard of Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, and Barack Obama wearing the same outfits every day. They weren't doing it because they lacked fashion sense. They were eliminating unnecessary decisions so they could focus their mental energy on bigger things. Now, I'm not saying you need to wear a uniform every day, although that does sound appealing to me. But you can take a similar approach in your own life by reducing decision overload. One way to do this is by creating defaults for common choices. Maybe you always eat the same breakfast or follow a set morning routine. Another way is batching similar tasks together. So instead of constantly switching gears, you handle all your emails at once or knock out errands in one single trip. Another powerful tool is time blocking. With time blocking, you're structuring your time in a way that works with your brain's natural rhythms. Research shows that your brain performs best when it can focus on similar tasks for defined periods rather than constantly switching between different types of activities. The key to time blocking is to align your tasks with your mental energy. If you're most alert in the morning, use that time for focused work. Save lower effort tasks like answering emails for when your energy dips. You also want to group similar tasks together so your brain doesn't have to keep switching gears. For example, schedule all your meetings back to back instead of scattering them throughout the day. And don't forget to build in buffer time. Your brain needs short breaks to transition between tasks smoothly. Now, a lot of people resist structure because they think it will feel too restrictive. But the goal isn't to create a rigid schedule where every minute is accounted for. Instead, create a framework that allows for flexibility. If something unexpected comes up, you can adapt without feeling like your whole day is thrown off course. One way to build in flexibility is by establishing anchor points, routines that happen roughly at the same time every day, even if the details in between shift. For example, your morning routine might always include waking up at the same time, a few minutes of mindful breathing, and a quick review of your day. These anchor points give your brain a sense of stability while leaving room for adjustments. Another way to create stability is using if-then plan disruptions without feeling like everything is derailed. For example, if my morning meeting runs late, then I'll use my lunch break for focused work. If I start feeling overwhelmed, I'll take a 5-minute walk to reset. And for those tiny nagging tasks that pile up, try the 2-minute rule. If something takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. This helps clear out small tasks before they become a mental burden. I think people underestimate the stress of carrying around a bunch of little things to do. It seems harmless. Someone asks you, hey, can you resend me that information about your travel plans? You think, sure, it'll only take a couple of minutes. But then you have to go and search through your phone or your inbox to find the message. And if you're like me and you have too many email accounts, you need to remember a word from the email or something that you read from it in the message to be able to search for the message. Then, as you're scrolling, you see another email that you forgot to respond to. Now, you either deal with that message immediately or you add it to your mental to-do list, and before you know it, you've accumulated 10 things that should only take just a couple of minutes. But now they're all competing for your attention. And that's the problem. It's not just about the time it takes to complete a task, it's about the cognitive load of remembering unfinished tasks. Your brain has to track them, hold them in working memory, and then remind you to get back to them. And that's exhausting. And if you have ADHD, depression, or anything else that compromises your working memory, all those little things to do can just crush you, and then you end up doing none of them. So that's why the 2-minute rule is so powerful. It clears out the small stuff before it starts taking up space in your mind. But what happens when your structure completely falls apart? Maybe you had your whole day planned, but an urgent issue came up, or you just weren't feeling it. This is where flexible routines come in.
Hey guys, so welcome back. Again, this is a really good video because it helps us to see how, in different ways, building structure into our lives, establishing structure, can be very beneficial. From reducing stress to making decisions much more easier, to allowing us to allocate more energy, thought energy, focus towards other areas that are more critical. And so the importance of structure as we come to a close in week 4 is really important for so many areas of our lives, especially if you are coming from a dysfunctional home that maybe lacks structure. Although it is the case that sometimes dysfunctional families can have too much structure that kind of prevents your liberation. So it can be both sides of the coin. And it's very important that we remember to keep focused on our vision, our goals, and then establishing a structure with routines that allows us to continue to make progress. Because once we've established something within our patterns of behavior, then we can kind of leave it on autopilot. And eventually we'll be continuing to work towards our goal without the mental strain of constantly putting effort and focus on it each day. So we can really use and leverage structure, routines, and habits to make continuous progress towards our goal, even without additional stress. And so thanks for joining us today on another Friday Fireside Chat. I hope you have a good time and enjoy the weekend, and I'll see you again for the next one.